There was a time when the measure of a man was his word, when a handshake was as binding as any contract, when promises were sacred, and when integrity was the crown a man wore, even if the world never applauded. Today, that kind of man is slowly disappearing. True men of integrity are vanishing because the world trades character for convenience. We live in an age where the instant is valued over the eternal, where shortcuts are celebrated and honor is often dismissed as old-fashioned. Yet, it is in this very time that the world needs men who will not compromise on who they are, no matter the cost. Integrity is not something you wear when it suits you. It is the unshakable foundation of who you are when no one is watching. A man of integrity does not bend with the wind of public opinion. He stands tall, firm, and rooted like a mighty oak in a storm. Today, everywhere you turn, there is a temptation to trade integrity for an easier path, a faster reward, a moment of comfort. It is easier to lean to tell the truth. It is easier to break a promise than to keep one. It is easier to follow the crowd than to stand alone. And yet, it is in that very choice to stay true when it hurts. That integrity is born. A man without integrity is like a ship without a compass. He may sail fast, but he will be lost. The reason so many lives feel empty despite success is because they have traded the priceless for the temporary. You can earn wealth, fame, and applause, but if you lose your integrity, you have lost the very essence of yourself. Integrity is the quiet companion that walks with you in the dark, the voice that whispers in your conscience. Do the right thing even if no one ever knows. It is not loud, but it is powerful. History remembers men of integrity because they were willing to sacrifice for truth. Think of the great leaders, reformers, and visionaries who changed the world. They were often alone, misunderstood, and even ridiculed. Yet their integrity lit a fire that outlived them. What would the world like if more men today carried that same flame? And too often, we see men choosing convenience over character. Promises are broken like dry twigs, loyalty is abandoned at the first storm, and words are spoken with no intention of being honored. It is this slow erosion of integrity that is leading to the extinction of the true man. But here is the truth: extinction is not inevitable for those who choose to rise. Every man today has the power to choose integrity over convenience. It is not something inherited. It is forged in the furnace of daily choices. Every time you are faced with a moment where no one is watching, you have the opportunity to become rare. When your friends take the easy way out and you choose the honest way, you become uncommon. When the world expects you to compromise and you refuse, you are breathing life into a dying breed. Integrity demands courage because the world will test it. There will be times when standing for what is right will cost you opportunities, relationships, or comfort. You may be misunderstood and you may even feel alone. But in those moments, remember this: integrity always outlives convenience. What you gain by compromising may last a moment, but what you gain by living with integrity lasts a lifetime. The respect you earn for your character is not bought. It is built brick by brick, decision by decision. A man of integrity becomes a lighthouse in a stormy world. Others see his light and are inspired to hold firm. He does not have to announce who he is. His actions speak for him. When he says yes, people believe it. When he says no, it is final. He is dependable, trustworthy, and strong not because of wealth or status, because his word is gold. This is the kind of man who becomes a father his children admire, a friend people can rely on, and a leader others will follow without question. And make no mistake, integrity is not built in the grand moments, but in the small, hidden ones. It is in the choice to tell the truth when a lie would save you. It is in the choice to keep a promise even when it costs you. Gift, it is in the choice to do the right thing even if no one claps. Every single choice is like a drop of water filling the reservoir of your character. One day, the world will see the man you have been building in secret. Some might say that the world has changed and that integrity no longer matters in a society that rewards speed and appearance. But I tell you this: integrity is the only currency that never loses its value. Trends fade, reputations built on lies crumble, and shortcuts eventually lead to dead ends. But integrity will carry you further than anything else because it cannot be taken away. It can only be surrendered. If we are to stop the extinction of true men, we must start with ourselves. Look in the mirror and ask, do I honor my word? Do I live the same life in private that I present in public? Do I stand for truth even when it costs me? These are not comfortable questions, but they are necessary. For every man who decides to live with unshakable integrity, the world gains a pillar that will not collapse. And when enough pillars rise, the foundation of society is strengthened. We cannot wait for others to change. We cannot hope that someone else will bring back the age of honor. It begins with you in your home, in your work, in the smallest corners of your life. Every decision is a chance to either contribute to the extinction or to the revival of true manhood. If the world has traded character for convenience, then be the man who refuses to sell. If the world has forgotten the power of a kept promise, then be the man who never breaks his word. If the world has grown comfortable with the shadows, then be the man who walks in the light, even if he walks alone. There is a fire that burns in the heart of a man who chooses integrity. It is not the fire of anger or pride, but the fire of conviction. It is the quiet strength that allows him to sleep peacefully at night because he knows he has nothing to hide. It is the confidence that allows him to face any challenge because his foundation cannot be shaken. That is the kind of man who will never go extinct because he is not defined by the times. He defines the times. So I challenge you today and refuse to disappear. Refuse to be a man who trades his soul for a moment of comfort. Refuse to be another statistic in a world where true men are fading. Rise and reclaim the crown of integrity. Be the man whose word is a fortress, whose life is a testimony, and whose presence reminds the world that honor is not dead. For when you live this way, you are not just saving yourself from extinction, you are lighting the path for generations to follow. Courage has always been the defining mark of a man who refuses to bow to fear, yet in today's world, courageous men who stand firm in storms are becoming rare in a society of comfort. We are living in an age where ease is celebrated more than endurance, where people seek shelter at the first sign of difficulty, and where the storms of life send many running for cover and standing tall. But history, legacy, and greatness are written by those who face the storm head on and refuse to retreat. Comfort has never built legends. It is the storms, the battles, the trials, and the moments when fear grips the heart that create men who cannot be broken. The world today tells us to choose safety over struggle, to seek the easy road, and to avoid pain at all costs. Yet life does not reward those who hide from the storm. Life rewards those who sail through it with unshakable courage. A man who always avoids the storm will never discover the strength of his own sails.
It is in the crashing wave,
the howling winds, and the darkness of uncertainty that a man discovers who he truly is. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. The ones who refuse to stand firm in the storm trade the possibility of greatness for the illusion of safety, and in doing so, they slowly vanish from the ranks of the remarkable. Society has grown addicted to comfort. We live in a time where instant gratification is more appealing than long-term perseverance. We scroll past our dreams and settle for distractions. We choose excuses over effort. And yet, deep inside every man is a fire that longs for challenge, a voice that whispers, "You were made for more." This voice does not speak in moments of ease. It speaks in the middle of the storm. It calls to the part of you that is tired of playing small, tired of hiding, and tired of watching life pass by while you remain sheltered. Courageous men are rare because standing firm in the storm requires more than strength. It requires a choice. It is the choice to confront fear instead of fleeing from it. It is the choice to endure criticism when you stand for something others are too afraid to defend. It is the choice to take responsibility for your life instead of blaming the world for your circumstances. The storm is where courage is born. No man has ever discovered his full potential by staying where it is safe. Safety feels comfortable, but it also keeps you ordinary. The storm is uncomfortable, but it transforms you into someone extraordinary. Consider every great man who has ever left his mark on the world. They all face storms that could have broken them. Some face the storm of failure, some the storm of rejection, some the storm of danger, and some the storm of self-doubt. Yet they chose to stand firm, to keep moving, to refuse to let the wind and waves determine their destiny. It is their courage in the face of the storm that separates them from the millions who chose the comfort of the shore. The shore is crowded with men who dared, who never stood their ground when life tested them. The open sea belongs to those who face the storm. Courage does not come wrapped in guarantees. The storm will test you. It will push you. It may even knock you down. But every time you rise again, every you plant your feet and refuse to run, your courage grows stronger. Courageous men know that storms are temporary, but the character built in the storm lasts forever. Comfort, on the other hand, is a thief. It steals your potential quietly. It whispers lies that tell you there will always be time later, that someone else will take the risk, that you can settle and settle be fulfilled. But the truth is, fulfillment lies on the other side of courage. The rare men of courage are the ones who choose to step into the storm when others step back. They are the men who refuse to compromise their principles even when standing firm makes them unpopular. They are the fathers who fight for their families, the leaders who defend truth when the world embraces lies, the dreamers who keep building even after the first structure falls. These men do not allow fear or failure to dictate their path. They do not retreat into the comfort of mediocrity. They accept that life will test them, and that only through those tests will they discover their own greatness. Every man has storms in his life. Perhaps your storm is a financial struggle, a failing relationship, a health crisis, or the weight of a dream that feels too heavy to carry. The storm will come in many forms, but its message is always the same. Will you stand, or will you run? This is the question that defines the difference between the men who are remembered and the men who are forgotten. Standing firm in the storm is not easy. Your mind will tell you to quit, your emotions will scream for comfort, and the world will tell you it is okay to walk away. But deep down, you know that walking away from the storm is walking away from your growth. The most beautiful transformations happen in the middle of the fiercest battles. Steel is forged in fire, and courage is forged in adversity. Every moment you hold your ground, every tear you wipe away, every step you take in the wind and rain builds the man you were always meant to be. The danger of a comfort-driven society is that it produces men who look strong on the outside but collapse at the first sign of pressure. We cannot allow ourselves to become that. The world does not need more men who disappear when life gets hard. The world needs men who can carry the weight of responsibility, who can face challenges without flinching, who can lead others through the darkness with an unshakable spirit. These men are the rare lighthouses in a stormy world, guiding others to safety, not by avoiding the storm, but by standing in the heart of it. If you are listening to this now, ask yourself, have I been running from my storms? Have I been trading my courage for comfort, my strength for safety, my potential for ease? If so, it is time to stop. It is time to step out of the shadows and into the wind. Life is calling you to rise, to fight, to endure. No one becomes legendary by avoiding the storm. Legends are forged in the moments when everything around them says, you will fall, and they answer, I will rise. The storms of life will not last forever, but the man you become by facing them will last for the rest of your life. When the storm ends and the sun rises, you will look back and realize that every step you took with courage built a foundation of strength that nothing can shake. You will know the joy that only comes from overcoming, the pride that only comes from perseverance, and the unshakable confidence that comes from facing fear and winning. So do not hide, do not run, do not wait for the storm to pass. Stand firm. Let the wind roar and the rain fall, and let the world see a man who refuses to bow. For in a society that worships comfort, courage will always make you extraordinary. When you choose courage over ease, you become a beacon for others who are lost in their own storms. Your example becomes proof that fear can be conquered, that adversity can be endured, and that a man who stands firm cannot be broken. And remember this, the storm you are facing is not here to destroy you. It is here to reveal you. It is here to strip away the layers of doubt, fear, and weakness until only the strongest version of yourself remains. This is why courageous men are rare, and this is why they are remembered. While others vanish into the comfort of safety, they rise into the light of greatness. Stand firm in your storm, for it is the path to the man you were born to become. ChatGPT said men who honor their word and protect values are slowly fading into history, and with them, the world loses a kind of strength that cannot be replaced. We are living in a time where promises are broken as easily as they are made, where values are compromised for convenience, and where integrity is often sacrificed on the altar of temporary gain. A man's word used to be his bond. It used to be enough to shake hands and trust that the promise would be kept. Today, that sacred trust is eroding, and with its erosion, we are witnessing the slow extinction of men who stand as pillars of truth and honor. Yet, the world has never needed such men more than it does now. A man who honors his word is a man who builds unshakable bridges of trust. In a world full of deception and pretense, he stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. When he says he will be there, he is there. When he makes a promise, he carries it to the end, even if it costs him comfort or convenience. His word is not dependent on circumstances. It is a reflection of his character. And a man's character is the true currency of his life. Without it, all his achievements are hollow. Even in the absence of fame or wealth, he becomes a force that others can lean on. But honoring your word is not easy in a time when excuses come cheap and distractions are everywhere. It is tempting to take the easy way out, to cancel commitments when it feels inconvenient, to break promises when no one will hold you accountable. Society often rewards those who appear successful rather than those who are truly honorable. Yet, a life built on broken promises is like a house built on sand. It may look impressive for a while, but the first storm will wash it away. Men who keep their word, on the other hand, become unshakable. People know that when they speak, it is not just air, it is a commitment carved into stone. Protecting values goes hand in hand with honoring your word because values are the compass that keeps a man steady. Without values, your word has no direction, no weight, no foundation. Values are the principles you refuse to compromise, the lines you will not cross, the truths you will defend even if standing for them costs you comfort or popularity. They are what make your word sacred because when you live by your values, people know that your promises are anchored in something deeper than convenience. We live in a time when values are under attack. Everywhere you look, shortcuts are celebrated and principles are treated as old-fashioned. Loyalty is often abandoned for personal gain, honesty dismissed as impractical, and self-interest often outweighs the greater good. But men who protect their values do not bend to the shifting winds of society. They are like mountains rooted, immovable, and dependable. You can build on them because you know they will not collapse under pressure. To be such a man in today's world takes courage and commitment. It means you will sometimes stand alone. It means there will be moments when doing the right thing will cost you relationships, opportunities, or even your reputation in the eyes of those who cannot understand your conviction. But every time you honor your word and protect your values, you strengthen not only yourself, but also the world around you. You become an anchor for those who are lost in the waves of uncertainty, a reminder that honor is not dead, and that there is still power in living a life of principle. Think about the people you admire most, the ones whose legacy lives long after they are gone. They were not perfect, but they were steadfast. They said what they meant and meant what they said. Their lives were built on trust and truth, and they defended their values with quiet strength. These are the men history remembers, not because they crowd, but because they refused to betray themselves or others. Every era needs such men, and our era is no different. But how do you become a man who honors his word and protects his values in a world that constantly tempts you to compromise? It starts with self-respect. A man who respects himself does not make promises lightly. He speaks with intention because he knows that every word he utters shapes the way the world perceives him. If he says he will do something, he moves heaven and earth to do it because failing to keep his word would mean failing himself. Honoring your word is as much about your own reflection in the mirror as it is about the trust of others. Next, it requires a clear set of values. You cannot protect what you have not defined. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? What are the principles I refuse to compromise? Is it honesty, loyalty, responsibility, faith, respect? Once you know your values, they become your armor. They guide your decisions when the world tries to pull you in 100 different directions. They give you the courage to say no when everyone else says yes, and to say yes when everyone else hesitates. Living this way will not always make life easy, but it will make life meaningful. There is a quiet strength in being a man of your word, a man who protects his values no matter the cost. You will sleep peacefully knowing that your integrity is intact. You will look in the mirror and see someone you respect. And over time, the world will recognize that your life is solid ground in a world full of quicksand. People will trust you, depend on you, and respect you, not because of your titles or possessions, but because of who you are at your core. The extinction of such men happens one compromise at a time. A small lie here, a broken promise there, a moment of weakness where values are set aside for personal gain. Each choice chips away at the foundation until one day, there is nothing left to stand on. But the revival of such men happens the same way, one decision at a time, one kept promise, one defended value, and one moment of courage would have been easier to give. And each of these choices builds a life of integrity brick by brick until you are unshakable. The world may not always celebrate such men in the moment, but it will always need them. Families thrive because of them. Communities are strengthened because of them. Businesses, nations, and futures are built on the trust and principles they carry. When a man's word is as strong as his presence and his values are his compass, he becomes a force that cannot be erased by time. The strength of a man today is not in muscles, but in his ability to lead with principle. Muscles may lift weight, but principles lift generations. A man can be admired for his physical strength, but he is remembered for the strength of his character. In a world where appearances are celebrated and temporary power is mistaken for real influence, the true measure of a man lies in his ability to live by principles that do not bend under pressure. This is the strength that builds legacies, the strength that earns respect, and the strength that makes a man unshakable even in the face of life's greatest storms. Society often portrays strength as dominance, physical prowess, or the ability to control others. But history teaches a different lesson. Some of the strongest men to ever walk this earth were not the ones who could overpower others, but the ones who could overpower themselves. Their fears, their weaknesses, their temptations. Real strength is quiet, steady, and rooted in principle. Gift. It does not need to shoot, intimidate, or boast. Simply exists as an unshakable foundation, and those who encounter it can feel it without a single word. To lead with principle means to have a compass inside you that always points to what is right, even when the path is difficult. It means refusing to compromise your values or for temporary gain. It means guiding others not by fear or manipulation, but by example. People follow a man of principle not because they are forced to, but because they are inspired to. This is the kind of strength the world is desperate for today, yet is also the kind of strength that is becoming rare. Many men today confuse control with leadership and image with character. They build their lives on outward appearances, on wealth, status, or physical strength while neglecting the inner fortress of principle. But outward strength without inner strength is fragile. A man who appears powerful but has no principles will eventually fall, because life will always test the foundation. The storms of temptation, adversity, and challenge come for every man. Muscles cannot carry you through betrayal, loss, or moral crossroads. Only principles can. Consider the greatest leaders in history, the men who left their mark not only on their area, but on the hearts of those who came after them. They were men of principle. They stood for truth even when it cost them comfort. They chose honor over personal gain. They led by example, proving that true strength is about lifting others, not just lifting yourself. These men understood that physical strength fades with age, but moral strength only grows stronger with every test it survives. Leading with principle requires courage, because the world will constantly try to push you off your path. There will be moments when doing the right thing feels like swimming against a powerful current. There will be temptations to cut corners, betray your values, or follow the crowd. And yet, every time you choose principle over convenience, you grow stronger. This strength cannot be measured in pounds or inches. It is measured in the impact you have on the lives around you. A man who leads with principle becomes a rock for others. His family trusts him because they know his word is true. His friends respect him because they know he stands firm in times of difficulty. His colleagues and community look to him because they can rely on his judgment and his consistency. He becomes a source of light in a world that often feels like it is stumbling in darkness. This is not the kind of strength that fades, it multiplies through every life it touches. To cultivate this kind of strength, a man must first confront himself. Oh, leadership begins in the mirror. You cannot lead others with principle if you not lead yourself with principle first. This means keeping promises you make to yourself. It means living a life that aligns with your values, even when no one is watching. It means mastering the inner battles, overcoming laziness, fear, anger, and selfishness, so that you can show up as the man others need you to be. Real strength is not about avoiding challenges, but embracing them. Life will test your principles, sometimes brutally. You will face moments where taking the easy path with you in the short term, but staying true to your values will cost you. These are the defining moments of a man's life. When you choose principle over comfort, you may lose temporary rewards, but you gain something far greater in the unshakable knowledge that you are living as the man you were meant to be. That knowledge will carry you through every storm with your head held high. Leading with principle also means understanding that your life is not just about you. The decisions you make, the example you set, and the values you uphold ripple into the lives of everyone around you. A father who leads with principle shapes his children into people of character. A leader who leads with principle inspires his team to operate with integrity. A friend who leads with principle encourages those around him to strive for higher standards. Your influence extends far beyond what you can see, and the strength of your principles determines the strength of that influence. In a world that celebrates shortcuts, selfishness, and superficial success, a man who leads with principle is a rare and powerful presence. He may not always be the luchest, the rich, or the strongest in appearance, but he will be the one others turn to when life becomes uncertain. His words carry weight because they are backed by action. His guidance is trusted, comes from a place of integrity. His legacy will outlast his lifetime because it is built on the timeless foundation of principle. But make no mistake, this path is not easy. Leading with principle will often require standing alone. It will require saying no when everyone else says yes, and yes when everyone else hesitates. It will demand sacrifice, patience, and resilience. resilience, but what you gain in return is worth more than anything comfort or compromise can offer. You gain self-respect, unshakable confidence, and the ability to look back on your life knowing you lived with honor. The extinction of true strength happens when men trade principle for power, comfort, or approval. Every time a man chooses to compromise his values, he chips away at the foundation of his strength. But the rise of true strength happens the same way, one principled choice at a time. Every decision to stand firm, every promise kept, every temptation resisted builds a man of unshakable strength. So I challenge you, become that man. Be the man whose strength is not measured in muscle but in moral courage. Be the man who leads with principle when the world is lost in confusion. Be the man whose presence inspires others to rise, whose words bring clarity, and whose actions leave no doubt about his character. Build a life so rooted in principle that no storm uproot it and no temptation can weaken it. Because at the end of the day, muscles may win applause, but principles win respect. Muscles may lift weights, but principles lift people. Muscles may fade, but principles leave a legacy. Be the man who chooses the kind of strength that outlives him. Lead with principle, and you will become the rare force this world desperately needs. A man whose life is a testament to the power of true, unshakable strength. Only those who dare to rise above mediocrity will survive extinction in the modern age. We live in a world where it is easier than ever to settle for average, to hide in the crowd, and to follow the path of least resistance. Mediocrity is comfortable. It is safe. It asks for nothing extraordinary from you. In return, it offers the illusion of peace. But the truth is, mediocrity is a slow death. It is the silent grave where dreams are buried, potential is wasted, and greatness is suffocated under the weight of excuses. If you wish to live a life that matters, if you wish to be remembered as more than a shadow in the background of history, you must rise above the ordinary. Every man is born with potential, but not every man fulfills it. The difference between those who leave a mark and those who disappear into obscurity is the willingness to break free from the comfort of mediocrity. The world does not reward the average. The world does not remember those who blend in. The world moves forward because of those who dare to step out, to push past fear, to do the things others are unwilling to do. These are the men who survive the test of time, the men who refuse to let the tide of conformity pull them under. Mediocrity is seductive because it promises safety. It whispers that if you do what everyone else does, you will not face criticism, you will not risk failure, you will not have to endure the discomfort of growth. But mediocrity's safety is a lie. While it shields you from short-term pain, it robs you of long-term fulfillment. It lulls you into a life where years pass by unnoticed, where your days are spent maintaining rather than creating, and where your last breath comes with the haunting question, what if I had tried? To rise above mediocrity, you must first recognize the chains that hold you there. They are not always visible. They are the habits of procrastination, the fear of judgment, the addiction to comfort, the avoidance of responsibility. They are the voices that say, it's enough, when you know you are capable of more. They are the temptations to settle for a life that is merely acceptable rather than exceptional. Breaking these chains requires courage because it means stepping into the unknown and leaving the crowd behind. Greatness has always been reserved for the few who are willing to pay its price. That price is discipline, perseverance, and relentless self-improvement. It is waking up early when the world sleeps, quit working, holding yourself to a standard higher than anyone else dares to expect. It is choosing to embrace the discomfort of growth over the comfort of mediocrity. Every breakthrough in history, every innovation, every legacy was born from man who dared to say, I will not settle for less than I am capable of. When you rise above mediocrity, you also rise above fear. Fear is the fuel that feeds an average life. It keeps men locked in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, and routines that numb their spirit. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. These are the bars of the prison called mediocrity. But once you take the first step toward greatness, once you decide that fear will not control your future, the walls of that prison begin to crumble. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in spite of it. The world today is full of distractions designed to keep you average. Social media entertainment and endless consumption of meaningless content can steal your time and your focus. Mediocrity thrives in distraction because it numbs your awareness of what you could be. Rising above it requires intentional living. It requires asking yourself every day, am I moving toward the man I am capable of becoming, or am I settling for less? This is a question only the brave dare to answer honestly because the truth demands action. To survive extinction in this modern age, you must become uncommon. You must do what average men refuse to do. While they make excuses, you take action. While they complain, you create. While they wait for permission, you move forward with determination. Mediocrity fears effort because effort exposes it. The moment you begin to rise, the comfort of the crowd will try to pull you back down. People may mock you, doubt you, or even resent you for daring to be different. But remember this, those who criticize the loudest are often those who secretly wish they had your courage. Rising above mediocrity is not a one-time choice. It is a daily battle. Every day you are faced with decisions that either pull you toward greatness or push you back into the crowd. Do you wake up early and chase your goals? Or do you hit snooze and let your dreams wait another day? Do you face your challenges with determination? Or do you let fear dictate your action? Your choice builds your life, and every choice moves you closer to either extinction or greatness. One of the greatest tragedies of mediocrity is that it kills dreams quietly. It convinces you to wait for the right time, to hold back until everything is perfect, to settle until life forces your hand. But there is no perfect moment. There is only now. Every day that you choose average over exceptional, the fire of your potential dims a little more. And one day, you wake up and realize that the man you were meant to become has been buried under years of good enough. But the beauty of life is that it is never too late to rise. No matter how long you walk the path of mediocrity, the moment you decide to step out of the crowd, your story begins to change. The first step is often the hardest, but feels like a leap into the unknown. But beyond that leap lies a life of purpose, pride, and fulfillment. That leap lies the man you were meant to be. Those who rise above mediocrity are the ones who change the world, not because they are better than others, but because they are willing to give more of themselves than others are. They take the risks, endure the failures, and embrace the challenges that average men avoid. And because they do, they leave a mark that cannot be erased. They live fully, they love deeply, and they die without regret. So I challenge you, Doug, dare to be uncommon. Dare to demand more from yourself than the world demands from you. Dare to push past fear, past doubt, past comfort, and into the arena of greatness. The path will be hard, but it will also be worth it. For when you rise above mediocrity, you do more than secure your own survival. You light a fire that inspires to rise with you. The modern age is full of distractions, comfort, and excuses. But history will not remember the excuses. It will remember the men who refused to settle, the men who rose, who fought, who built, who left the world better than they found it. Be then, live that life. Leave that mark. For in a world where mediocrity reigns, only the extraordinary survive and only the brave will be remembered.